Good morning.
Good
morning, rinpoche.
Good morning. Hello. Yes. Hello. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, now we will do the refuge. Sangye cheda tsoye chanan la janjo bardo dane yezoje. Da ye jezo yebe sanam jola benje sangye jo bara jo sangye cheda tsoye chanan la janjo bardo dane yezoje. Da ye jezo yebe sanam jola benje sangye jo bara Mandala. So please listen with the pure intention, the pure motivation, which is to alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings and achieve enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, basically bodhicitta. So the book I will be reading from so we have last week we talked about, basically we are on the subject of Powa, and so we talk about 5 types of Powa. The 5 types of Powa. So we are the Powa with regarding the 3 enlightened bodies, the kayas, the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya. So there are three kaya Powa. Then we have the Powa of the 3 three conception, and then you have the Powa for those who are in dire consequences, and compassionate Powa for those who are in dire situation. So there are 5 Powas, remember? So we will be dealing with the 4th one this time, today. The 4th one is known as the Powa of the 3. So here in this book in English, it's called the 3 metaphors, but in Tibetan, it's more like 3 concepts. But in any case, so we will be talking about that Powa. The 4th one. So if you're following the book in English, it's on page number 335, ordinary transference using 3 metaphors. Please follow in the same page in your respective language. So 335. So last week we ended on the 3 types of Powa. The Powa of these 3 types of Powa, they were called the Sambhogakaya Powa, Dharmakaya Powa, like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you become enlightened being. It doesn't mean you become the Buddha by doing that Powa. So those 3 Powas having the name Dharmakaya Powa, Sambhogakaya Powa, Nirmanakaya Powa, it actually makes you familiarize with the concept of the 3 Buddha bodies, so that eventually we become more and more familiar, and eventually we attain the three kayas. So one thing you have to know is that sometimes if you just read the book, it says the Powa is for, yeah, even I mentioned that earlier too. So usually they say Powa is to become enlightened without meditating. And then there was this line from Marpa Lozawa, Marpa, who said, everybody has the method of become enlightened with meditation, through meditation. I have this method without meditation. So you might get this misinformation that, oh, Powa, doing Powa means you just do the Powa and then you become a Buddha without doing any other meditation. It's like a very, a shortcut. That is not the case. So the reason the first three Powa has the name Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, like that, it actually is to familiarize our mind with the concept of the three enlightened Buddhas, the three enlightened bodies of the Buddha. So this is something you need to keep in mind. So Powa does not mean you become a Buddha right after you die. So that's one thing important. And now we will start today's topic. So it's called the ordinary transference using three concepts. In Tibetan, we call it Dushe Sumgi Powa. Dushe is conception. But here it's translated as metaphor, which means example. So a little bit different in translation, but you get the idea. Okay. So you are the transference using the three metaphors or three concept. So within the concept, the three concept, you are using three metaphors anyway. So so the translation is not wrong, but it's not literal translation of the Tibetan word Dushisumgi Powa. Anyway, so the three metaphors is to see your continuum, to see your inner channels as the pathway, and your mind as the traveler, tourist, and then the Pure Land as the destination. Your channel as the pathway, your mind, mental continuum, we call it. So your mind as the traveler and the Pure Land as the destination. That's the three metaphor or the three concept. So you understand by the name itself, the title, it says ordinary transference. Ordinary. So that means for ordinary people like us, why it's calling, why this is called ordinary, and so what is the difference between ordinary and non-ordinary transference? So non-ordinary, extraordinary transference is the first three we talked about here last week. So those are for higher advanced practitioners who have who are highly skilled in the completion stage, generation stage, and both the generation stage and completion stage, or someone who has started in either of the generation or completion stage but not completed them, but has started in them, or basically someone who is familiar with the completion, Dzogrim and Gyenzok. So the completion stage and the generation stage. Someone who is someone who is familiar, well versed in the Kirim and the Dzogrim, the generation and completion stage. Those are the extraordinary. They have control. They can do Powa themselves. Extraordinary Powa. They do not need to rely on this particular method. So those of us who are not well versed in the Dzogrim and Kirim, the generation stage and the completion stage, completion phase, we rely on this particular Powa practice. So therefore, it's called ordinary. So, so this has two different names. One is known as the ordinary transference using the three concepts or three metaphors. Another name is more popular known is the transference of consciousness into the guru or into the teacher or guru. The guru's transference, sometimes it's called the Lame Powa. Namshe is consciousness, Lama is guru, Powa is transference. So transference of the consciousness by the guru or through the guru. Basically, so a teacher trains you on how to do the Powa itself, and then at the time of death, you practice this, you execute this training. So that is called, sometimes it's called the consciousness into the guru. Sorry, transferring the consciousness into the guru. Or like that. So the book continues that this kind of practice is unnecessary. This kind of transference practice, Powa, is unnecessary for a highly realized master or yogi. So this is, I already explained. So someone who is well versed in the Hirim, Zorim, etc., they do not need to practice this. They do not need to specifically study this practice. They can do the transference on their own. So there is a quotation from the Tantra. What is called death is merely a concept, something that leads to the heavenly fields. So this is referring to the yogis. So for the yogis, death does not mean the end. For us, for a lot of us, because when we die, it's like an end. Even though we still live in samsara, for us, it's like an end because whatever we have, we lose them. We can no longer we don't know our loved ones, our property, etc. We lose them, and we're not sure when will we get to see them. But for a yogi, it is not. It's like moving from um, uh, one vacation spot to another vacation spot. So you can still come back if you want to. For most of us, we don't have that choice to come back to the exact spot that you have left, right? We always come back in samsara, but we don't come back to the spot that we want to come back. If I die from this position, this body, this place, there's no guarantee that I can actually come back to this exact spot. I will, of course, come back to samsara. I will be in some other parts of samsara, but not exactly in this spot. But for the great yogis, if they wish to, they can always come back to this very spot. And if they wish to do work in other planets and other regions, other realms, they can do that as well. So basically, they have that choice. We don't have that choice. So because we don't have the choice to come back to the exact spot that we have left behind, so it's like the end for us. So for us, the death is like the end. So for the yogis, it's not the end. So therefore, the death is not a big deal. It's like sleeping off. You sleep, you wake up, you still, you can choose to stay in the same hotel the next day, or you can choose to move to another hotel, another place, etc. So like that, for the great yogis, the death is just temporary. Death is not the ultimate. Yeah. On the other hand, for those without sufficient training, basically in the other Kirim and Zorim and that kind of training, then this kind of Powa has to be received. Powa practice has to be received. Yeah. So technique is essential for practitioners, Dharma practitioners and Dharma followers in general, but not advanced practitioner. Okay. So this essential for practitioners who have not attained stability of the on the path. So you are on the path of Dharma, but you have not gained stability, right? Any small things can actually move you here and there, even though you have pure faith, devotion to the path, etc. But small things can turn you off. Or those who have committed numerous harmful actions, basically, the 10 negative deeds, killing, lying, this and that. So you have done all of that, or some of them. For anyone holding, for those, if you hold this special practice, special instruction means the Powa practice that is described here. However serious his or her wrong actions may be, okay, however serious the negative actions you have committed in this lifetime, the gates of the lower realms are closed, meaning the hell realm, the hungry ghost, and the animal realm is closed for you. So you will not be born in the lower realm. You will be born in the higher, because you have to be born in any of the 6 realms. So if the 3 lower realms are closed, that means you're born in the higher realms. even those who have committed a crime with immediate retribution. So that is the five um, um, the five crimes, the five heinous crimes, as it's called, which is killing your father, your mother, killing arahat, uh, blooding Buddha, and then creating a rift between two dharma group, sangha. So that is the five heinous crime. Even if you commit a heinous crime, okay, not to mention the 10 negative deeds, which is, kind of uh, less serious compared to the five heinous crime. Even if you commit a five heinous crime, you will still be freed, or you can still escape the lower realms of samsara if you follow the Powa properly, Powa instruction properly. So there's a few lines, few quotations. I will just recite one or two of them, not all of them, because they all sound similar. So let me do the first one, which is from the Tantra. Tantra means from the Buddha's own words. So the first line, so it goes like this. You might have killed a Brahmin every day. So not just an ordinary being. So if you have heard of that, if you're familiar with, so within the Indian sort of tradition, okay, Buddhism came from India. So Indian tradition, custom, there is the system of the caste system. So within the caste system, the Brahmins are the highest. So Brahmins are usually the priest class, the priesthood. So they are considered the highest form. So I think killing a Brahmin is equal to killing 100 human beings in general. So something like that. Okay, this is Indian culture in general. So here the book says, so you don't have to take it literally. I will explain more later, anyways. But killing a Brahmin is, as I said, it's equal to killing 100 ordinary beings. Okay, in India. So the Tantra here says that you might have killed a Brahmin, not just one Brahmin, but a Brahmin every day. One might have committed the five heinous crime or the five acts with immediate retribution, but you will still be liberated by this path. Liberation does not mean going to nirvana. Liberation means liberated from being born in the lower realms. Okay, that is the liberation here. So you have to understand what this liberation means. Liberation does not here. You will still be liberated by this path. Here, liberation does not mean nirvana. It means liberation from lower samsara. Lower samsara. None of these crimes will defile you. Whoever practices the transference, or concentrating on the opening above the other nine, so basically on the crown chakra, will not be defiled by his negative acts and will be reborn in a pure Buddha field. So just this is from the Tantra, Buddha's own words. So there are many. So I give you two perspectives here. So there are many people, especially like knowledgeable, scholastic people who have faith in the Buddha Dharma, who admire Buddha's wisdom, but at the same time criticize Vajrayana Buddhism. Okay, and there are many reasons for that. So I will not go into all of that. So I will just go into this point where it says uh, killing a Brahmin. So give so much importance to killing a Brahmin over other sentient beings. So Brahmin is a system that is prevalent in India and only in the Hindu religion, not in Buddhism, not in Tibet, not in any other part of the world, only in India and only in the Hindu religion. So by giving such an importance to Brahmins, Vajrayana practice is actually a Hindu practice that is propagated by Buddhist masters. So a lot of people say that, especially, yeah. And anyway, so a lot of scholastic people who do a lot of studies, admire the Buddha Dharma in general, but then, anyway, so they say that. So that is one perspective, okay? Another perspective is that the Powa practice is sort of made up in Tibet. There is no tradition coming from India, because the Dharma, Buddha came from India, and the teaching came from India. So coming from India actually authenticates the teaching. So there is some people think that Powa is just made up. It's not come from authentic master. So these two perspectives or two statements can be refuted by this first line, which is that giving importance to the Brahmins. So giving importance to the Brahmin, you will see that because Tibet does not have any Brahmin at all. So there is no need to refer to Brahmins, because if you refer to the Brahmin, it doesn't make any sense to Tibetans. Vietnam, America, only in India you have the Brahmin system, Brahminical system. So giving importance to the Brahmin, it shows that this teaching came from India, which authenticates its practice. Now you might think that because it's giving so much importance to Brahmin, then that means it is a Hindu teaching. That is not true. So what happens is, even though this teaching is Buddhist teaching, but it was taught in India. And in India, the idea of the Brahminical system, the caste system, was there long time, even before the Buddha came. So that's why when Buddha came and he made the Sangha, he said, I will not divide the members of my Sangha through your race, creed, and caste. Rather, it will depend on your inner values, like that. So therefore, it is not because this teaching, the Powa or any other tantric teaching is Hindu teaching. That's why it's giving importance to the Brahmins. It is because it is it's a widely prevalent idea in India at that time. And when the masters gave this kind of teaching, so they they quote that even those who have killed a Brahmin, which is unthinkable, even that person can also receive retribution through practicing the Powa, like that. Oh yeah. So I did mention that many times during my previous talks. So Tantra is not special to Buddhism. There is Hindu Tantra and Buddhist Tantra, okay? Tantra. But Vajrayana means is special to specifically for Buddhism. Vajrayana basically means Buddhist Tantra, okay? So don't be alarmed. But that's why there's so many misconceptions that, people who read into the Buddhist teaching, so they find the similarities between Hinduism and Tantra, the Hindu practices and the Buddhist practices. There's a lot of similarities, and you cannot just put aside Vajrayana as a Hindu practice just because there are similarities between Vajrayana Buddhism and Hindu tantric practices. If you do that, then even Buddhism itself very similar to Hinduism. Buddhism itself is very similar to Jainism. The concept of karma, the concept of the law of cause, the karma, right? Doing good and that thing, and then the concept of the hell realms, the lower realms, the higher realms. All of that is in Hindu teachings. So if you say Buddhist Tantra is Tantra, Vajrayana is not pure Buddhism because it resembles Hindu teaching, then you will actually have to say that Tibetan Buddhism, or no, Buddhism itself, not just Tibetan Buddhism, Buddhism in general is Hinduism. Because if you check Hinduism or the Hindu teachers predates Buddha himself. And then there is the similarities between the Buddhism and Hinduism. There's a lot of similarities. If you brush off something just because there is similarity between the two, then a lot of cultures will actually disappear, because most culture in the world, there are so many similarities, because you can only survive through assimilation, even though it's not the proper way to, the only way to survive is through adaptation. And so for that reason, the external practices, there will be a lot of similarities. Just because there are similarities, you cannot say this one, because A looks like B, so therefore A is B. You cannot say that. Yeah. So this is a side note, once again, but it's important, I think, because you need to, it's important to use the opportunity to study. We are practicing Tantra, and it's important to study Tantra as well. Very important, because out of the 1,000 Buddhas that is coming in this light eon, the eon of illuminating eon, the good eon, out of the 1,000 Buddhas, only two Buddhas teach Sutra and Tantra. Okay, only two Buddhas. Shakyamuni is the one, and then the very last Buddha, Sangye Marmedze or something. I forgot the exact name, but it's the last Buddha of the 1,000, last of the 1,000 Buddhas. He will teach both Tantra and Sutra. Okay, but he's not prophesied to teach both of them. It's just we are using our we use logic. We logically come to a conclusion that the last Buddha will have both Tantra and Sutra. I will come back to that. Except for that, only two Buddhas in one. So this is Buddha Shakyamuni is the fourth Buddha, and all the other 900 something Buddhas, only two Buddhas among them will be teaching, like the Maitreya Buddha, like other Buddhas. Only two of them will teach Tantra. Only one has both Sutra and Tantra. Okay, only one has Sutra and Tantra, and the last one we we make our logical calculation that the last Buddha will teach Tantra and Sutra. I will explain why. So basically, there are only two Buddhas in the future will teach Tantra. And because that Buddha will not teach Sutra, those who are not familiar with Sutra in the past will not be able to grasp the teaching of Tantra, which is very advanced. So if you are familiar with Sutra and Tantra at this time, then in the future Buddha's time, you will be able to advance further. But if you have not, then when the later Buddha came, when he teaches the Tantra, you will not be able to, practice Tantra. Because in order to practice Tantra, you need to understand Sutra. You will need to combine Sutra and Tantra together. Otherwise, by, mere introduction to Tantra will not help. So why the last Buddha has both Tantra and Sutra? So we have a logical conclusion. We don't have prophecy. Okay, all the other Buddhas, there's a prophecy. Who will teach what? How long will it be that Buddha's teaching will last, etc. But the last Buddha, okay. So we have only logical conclusion. We don't have a prophecy for that. Okay. The logical conclusion is that I will make the story very short. So the 1,000 Buddha that is coming in this eon, this light eon, they have all pledged the Bodhisattva vow and generated bodhicitta for the very first time from Manjushri, Buddha Manjushri. Okay. And at the time of generating the bodhicitta for the very first time, each of those Buddha made a aspiration, wishes, desire. So the last Buddha, I remembered his name. His name is illuminating the desire. Okay, Möba Nangze. Möba is desire or wish, maybe wishes are. And then Nangze means to illuminate. Illuminating the desire or illuminating the wish. That is his name, Möba Nangze. So out of the 1,000 bodhisattvas, out of the 1,000 people, the new bodhisattvas, the last one who later become the Möba Nangze, and he is the 1,000th Buddha in this eon. So all of his other Dharma brothers made the wish to do this. So he was the last one, and maybe some of the, usually our teachers usually joke that because there's 1,999 brothers before him, so he doesn't have much time to pray or make aspiration. So he said, okay, whatever my brothers said, may I also have the same thing. So he didn't make a specific wish. His wish was to have the same thing as all of his brothers had. So all of his brother means his fourth brother, which is Shakyamuni. And Shakyamuni has both Sutra and Tantra. And so therefore, logical conclusion is that Mewanangze, illuminating the desire. So during his time, there will be both Sutra and Tantra. So there's no prophecy. It is just a logical conclusion. So it's not a very strong logical conclusion, but anyway, that is what we because he prayed that everything that his brothers had, he also have the same thing. So that means we will also have both Sutra and Tantra. That is just a conclusion that we come at. But there is no direct prophecy from the Buddha saying that his teaching will have both Sutra and Tantra. So therefore, it is most likely this is the only time that we have both Sutra and Tantra. So therefore, we must study both and use the opportunity.
So the future, there will be only Tantra, right? The future Buddha.
Yeah, two more Buddhas will give only Tantra, pure Tantra teaching, no Sutra at all. So if you have no yeah. So all the 1,000 Buddhas who will come at what time and who will teach what, all this thing is prophesied. It's stated in the sutra. Okay. And so that's why we know that, okay, two more Buddhas will teach Tantra. But the last Buddha will be teaching Tantra. It's not specified in the sutra. We just make this logical conclusion. Hopeful. Tantra without sutra teaching is like having the strongest lock in the world without the key. You have the strongest lock, but you forgot the combination key. All the other teachings, there will be many keys. There will be about 900 something keys, but there will be no lock. Because just Sutra, no Tantra.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we must use the opportunity this time. Yeah. We still have 2,500 years to go. The Buddha Shakyamuni's teaching is prophesied to last for 5,000 years. After that, it will be normal. Okay. So, okay, now I will end with the last, so the last quotation, which is from Milarepa. So it says, Jejun Shepa Dorje. Jejun Shepa Dorje is another name for Milarepa, okay? The last quotation is like this. These instructions, which blend, transfer, and link, are the essential guide to overcoming the intermediate state. Basically, going over the Pardo state. No need to go through Pardo. Is there anyone with such a path? How happy the person whose life energy enters the central channel. How wonderful he arrives in absolute space. Yeah. The last one. So this is a very common terminology in the Milarepa's teaching. Blend, transfer, and link. So blend, transfer, and link. Three things, right? Blend, transfer, link. So the first line is blend, transfer, link. Blend is to blend or merge your mind with the mind of the guru. Transfer is so therefore transfer from this body to the next, to the body of the of a deity. And link means to link with the pure land. So link this body with the body of the of a deity. Link this world with the pure world or the pure land. Blend this mind with the mind of the guru. Transfer this mind from this body to the body of the deity. Transfer from this place to the pure land. Link this world with the pure land's world. Yeah. So blend, transfer link.
Thì thầy
It's
có
a unique terminology from Milarepa's lineage, basically Kayu lineage. Yeah. So, okay, now the training. Okay, I will continue with the book. The instructions for Powa. Instructions are in two parts. First, the training, and then the actual practice. So, training here basically means preparation. Okay, so the instruction is divided into two parts: the preparation part and the actual practice, actual application of the practice. Yeah. Training for Powa. Yeah. So you will, so the first one, training, using the explanations on transference that you have received, you will receive actually, you will receive. It says you have received, but you're gonna receive this later. So using the explanations on transference that you have received, train yourself over and over again with diligence until the signs of success appears. So basically, until you complete your training, you have to do it again and again, consistency. At the moment, while all your body channels, energies, and the essence are intact and vigorous, this body is strong enough, okay, this time, you will find it actually difficult to perform the Powa. And but if you train, even it's difficult, you train it like that, at the final hour, at the time of death, or maybe you become frail and aged and frail, basically you become old, then this practice will become stronger. And then the analogy was given to a fruit on a tree, a ripe fruit on a tree. So when the fruit is unripened, it's it's stuck there. It's stuck to the branches, very strong, very strong. But when it's ripe, you can just shake the tree and the fruits will fall down like that. So once the body becomes weaker, it will be, if you train well, okay? If you don't train, then it's the same thing anyways. If you train properly, then at the time of death, it will be easier for your consciousness to leave your body. You will be able to maneuver your consciousness to whichever destination that you want to deliver, okay, at the time of death, because then the grip of your physical functions will be loosened. Right now, your physical presence is stronger than your mental presence. So it's more difficult right now to do the transference. But you have to train when it's more difficult, so that so if you train when it's difficult, if the training is hard, then during the actual application of the training, that will become much easier. Okay. So the actual transference, now the introduction to the actual transference. So the time, so I'm reading from the book. The time to put transference into actual practice. The actual training will actually come after this. So here, Pedro, which is specifying the timing. And so why this is important is because this is something we call this the dissolution process, dissolving. Okay, so this is of course all about normal death, not a sudden death like car accident, that kind of thing. That is different. At that time, you cannot do Powa by yourself. Maybe so. This is on a normal death, normal dying state. So basically, when you die, your bodily functions slowly decrease. And we call that dissolution. Okay. So to understand the dissolution, you must understand something called the faculties, energies, and phases. So basically, there are four or five elements. Five faculties and four elements. Five faculties, easy. Eye, ear, nose, basically the five senses. And then the energy, the element is also easy. Fire, wood, water, air. So there's 4 elements. Sometime we have to add one more, which is sometimes we call that the vacuum. Normally we call it space in most of the practices, but here during the death practice, the 5th element is the cavity, like emptiness. Not the emptiness as in the wisdom part of emptiness, but like vacuum, empty. Like if there is nobody in the house, it's empty, right? Like that kind of empty. So 4 elements, fire, wood, this kind of thing, and then the cavity or the emptiness, like that. 5 elements or 4 elements. It differs from one practice to another. So 4 or 5 elements, okay? And then 3 phases. So the 3 phases called okay, I will explain the 3 phases later. So the 5 faculties from ear to the body, sorry, from seeing with eye, from eyes to touch, the 5 senses, 5 faculties or 5 senses, 5 faculties which detects the 5 senses, correct? So 5 faculties, 4 or 5 elements, and 3 phases. So this is something you have to be familiar with first before you train on that part. So yeah, maybe I'll explain a little bit more, okay?
Yeah.
So the 5 elements, the 4 or 5 elements. So the 5th element is space.
Yeah.
But then the elements also can be divided into 2, inner elements and outer element. Okay, for this purpose. So the inner 5 elements is flesh, our body flesh. Yeah, blood, heat, the breathing or the air, and all the cavity or the space within our body. Okay, for our blood to run, for everything to run through and to move and to process, there is the cavity, there is the emptiness within, right? Inside our body, there's a lot of hollow inside, cavity inside the body. So flesh, blood, heat, breath, and the cavity. So these are the 5 inner elements. Outer element, right? Fire, water, this and that. So the outer element, it's easy. We are familiar with that. Inner element is flesh, blood, heat, breath, and the cavity, the vacuum inside our body. It's not very difficult to correspond to each of them.
Yeah.
So basically, flesh is earth. Because earth is the base for everything. Everything grows on earth. Everything moves on earth. Everything happens on the earth, right? Even the sky is kind of like stuck related to with the earth. So earth, flesh is earth. Blood is water. Breath is air. Breathing air. Very easy to understand. And then the cavity, the hollow within our body, that is the space. So the 5 inner element and the 5 outer element correspond. Okay. So the time to apply, time to put into application, time to apply the Powa practice. When is it? Not the training, but the actual Powa. So the time to put into practice the actual Powa practice is when the signs of deaths are approaching. When you are sure that there is no turning back, and then the process of dissolution has already begun. Do not do it at any other time. So you will train, of course, but you will not use the actual Powa until the dissolution process. So dissolution, what dissolution? Dissolution of the 5 elements, the 5 faculties, which I will explain. Okay. So when the dissolution process starts, then you put into application the actual Powa. It says, so there's a quote from Tantra: perform transference when the right time comes. Otherwise, you will kill all the deities. So what this means is, before your death comes, let's say before the signs of death comes, if you practice, I mean, practice in the sense of training is okay. Practice in the sense of actual application of the practice is different, okay? So basically doing the actual Powa before time of death will result in killing the deities. So killing the deity here basically means when you are, it is believed that people who do the Powa practice are Vajrayana practitioners. So as a Vajrayana practitioner, you usually every morning, uh, and afterwards, you visualize yourself as the deity, maybe Tara, Genesis, whatever. So you are in the deity state, and so without proper dissolution process, if you transfer your consciousness from this body to another body, and this body sort of dies, that way you actually commit the crime of killing the deity, which is Tara or Chenrezig, whatever. Even though you are not, I mean, you cannot kill Chenrezig or Tara, but without the proper dissolution, you commit that kind of sin, you know, because the process of transference is not correct. Okay, so I'll continue with the book. There are many stages in the process of dissolution, but to make it easy to understand, it can be divided into the dissolution of the five sense faculties, the dissolution of the four elements, and the three phases. So the three phases known as clarity phase, increase phase, and the attainment phase. Yeah. So it can be divided into these three segments, and the five senses, the faculties, the elements, and the phases. Yeah. Okay. So the dissolution of the five senses, five sense faculties, eye, ear, nose, touch, etc. Right. So the dissolution starts, for instance, when the recitation of the monks. So, for example, just saying in a typical Buddhist sort of um, family. So when you die, they will bring the monks to recite mantra, this and that. So you can hear the monks praying outside or close to you, but you cannot make out the words. It's just a murmuring, like um, you cannot make out the exact words. You can just hear some murmuring, and you can no longer distinguish the syllables. Mm. And then you can also hear people who is next to you sitting in the same room, but you hear them like very far away, like when you are talking to someone on a telephone, right? Um, the distant voices, even though it's just in the next to you. That is your auditory consciousness, your ear faculty failing or dissolve. So we use the term dissolve, but it's not like it's dissolving or merging into something else. It's just uh, weakening out, okay, falling out. So for falling out, we use the term dissolution. Okay, so that is the dissolution of your auditory senses or auditory consciousness, as we call it. And then you can see some of the other monks, whoever is in front of you, you can make a blurry picture, not very clear, right? Someone is there, but you cannot make out who it is. So blurry. So these things when these things happen. So basically, you can apply the same with the hearing, same with touch, etc. You can smell something, but cannot put what kind of smell it is. The touch and this and that. So that means the five elements, sorry, the five faculties are failing, and so failure or the weakening of the five faculties is called the dissolution of the five faculties. So when the dissolution of the five faculties start, then you have to put into application the actual transference practice, the Powa. That is the right timing to do the Powa. This is the time when the fruit is ripe and ready to fall down. So it's the best time to shake the fruit. So basically, shaking the fruit is a metaphor for transferring the consciousness. So if you do the Powa yourself, this is the best time. Or if someone is doing the Powa for you, this is also the best time to do it. If someone else is doing the Powa for you, then out of the 5 Powas, this is not the first, second, third, or fourth. It is the 5th Powa, the Powa of compassion. That is a different kind of Powa, okay? Coming back to the point, we are talking about, doing the Powa yourself, which is the 4th Powa, the Powa of the 3 metaphors or the 3 concepts. So this starts when the dissolution of the 5 faculties, dissolution of the 5 elements starts happening. Then you have to apply the Powa. Normally, we use the term, so it's a little bit different here in this book, but I will explain both. Normally, we call for example, so this is the dissolution of the 5 faculties. So now next is the dissolution of the 5 elements or the 4 elements. So I will explain what this book says, and I will explain what in general the term that we use. So generally, the term we use is the earth element dissolving into the water element, dissolving into fire, fire dissolving into air, and air dissolving into space, like that. But here, this particular book uses the metaphor of the 5 inner elements, okay, and the 5 outer elements. So basically, the first inner element dissolving into the first outer element, second inner element dissolving into the second outer element, like that. So this is a unique style of this particular book. So normally the earth element dissolves into the water element. That means earth is rigid, strong, and hard. So when the earth element dissolves into water, even though we use the term earth element dissolve into water, it's not like the earth actually turns into water. Okay, why it's called earth elements dissolve into water? Because the sense of rigidness and strongness and hardness that you have within your body starts to diminish. Okay, and then the next sensation, which is the sensation of water, will be strongest. Right? They're saying that people who are handicapped, limited in certain things, like cannot see properly or cannot hear properly, because when a person is handicapped in one thing, they actually are good in other things, because people have 5 faculties, right? So if your ear faculties are kind of broken down, then the other faculties, actually you can put more energy on the other faculties, and so they have a stronger sense of other faculties. So similarly, when the earth element dissolves, or earth element loses, weakens, when the earth element weakens, the rest of the elements become much stronger. And so for the earth element decreasing and the other elements the earth element weakening and the other elements becoming stronger is termed as dissolution of the earth into the water. So your body does not become water, but this is the term that is used. Okay, so why I'm telling you this is because if you're familiar with these terminologies, then next time you read book on how, like, there's a very famous book called the Tibetan Book of Dying. So if you're familiar with this, then you'll be able to understand better. Yeah. And understanding the process of death is something important for all of us. Okay, yeah. So that in a normal situation, in usual terminology, we say fire dissolve, earth dissolve into water, water dissolve to fire, and like that. So we only use the outer elements terminology, outer elements analogy. Okay, but in this particular book, inner elements and outer elements are both combined. So I will explain the general description. So which is just dissolving earth into water. So what happens at that time is, I will just repeat once again. Dissolve into water does not mean the earth becomes water, right? It just means the earth element is weakened and the water element is strengthened. Okay. So when the earth dissolves into water, what happens is earth is the basis, which is the ground, which is the firmness. So earth is known for firmness. So basically, when the earth element dissolves into within your body, what happens is your body will become weaker, of course. So one of the best example is that, for example, if I press my flesh like this on my face or whatever my body, the skin will come. I mean, the flesh will come back, right? It will just come back to its original sort of shape. But once the earth element decreases, the earth element dissolves, then the body will, if you press the body, it will not come back to its original shape. Or if it comes back, it comes back very slowly. So basically, that is when you lose the firmness within your body. So the earth element is lost, or earth element is dissolved. So that is the sign of earth element losing. Earth element dissolving into the water element. Now the next is water element dissolving into fire element. So when that happens, basically the fluid in your body starts drying up, and then you will, yeah, of course, feel thirsty and all that thing. You will start to feel thirsty, and basically the fluid within your body will dry up. And I mean, if you keep the body like that for a few days, whatever, then the body starts to crumple, with all the liquid gone, like a dried apple. Like so, body loses all its shape and this and that. So that is the water element dissolving into the fire element. Once again, it doesn't mean water turns into fire. It just means water is weakened, fluid is weakened, and fire is strengthened. You might have seen the dying person who looks like a skeleton. Even though there's flesh there, but it looks skeletal. So all the liquid is gone. So that is the water dissolving into fire. So now the fire dissolves into air. Okay, fire dissolving into air means basically the heat in your body is gone. So the heat starts receding, decreasing. Okay, receding within your body, starting from your feet, from the bottom of your feet. So it starts decreasing from your feet, and it starts decreasing from the crown. And these two decrease of the heat will conclude at your heart. So heat starts decreasing from the feet, and heat starts decreasing from the head, and then it will conclude. All heat will be gone from the body. Basically, it will go to the heart. There will be a little bit heat remaining at the heart if you are touch the person, but all other parts of the body, it will be totally cold. So the fire dissolves, of course, into the air. So the fire dissolves into the air. That time, so when the fire is dissolved, then there's no more heat, right? Yeah, like that. And the air, which is when the air energy is dissolved into the heart. So basically, you might have heard of the term heart chakra. So that's where all it goes to. So, and the wind is known as the carrier for the mind, the consciousness. So most of the time we say, oh, mind, consciousness, and the mind and body are different things. Physical and mental is two different things. They are not like that. But actually, in the most subtle cases, the mind is actually dependent on the physical, basically the subtle physical aspect of something called the subtle wind energy. With the air, the mind, the consciousness, because all the heat has gone to the heart chakra and all the air has gone to the heart chakra. So basically, all other mental faculties, the other consciousness, all form of consciousness basically condenses at the heart chakra, by the heart. So by that time, the wind energy has gone to the heart, and the air element has dissolved, and so air element corresponds with the wind energy. So for that reason, you have difficulty breathing in and breathing out. Both becomes very difficult. And then basically at that time, outer breathing stops. So there's no more breathing from outside. Yeah. External breathing is no more there. If you put your hand by the person's nose, you will not feel any breathing air coming out from the nostrils. So the description in this book is a little bit different as in like not contradictory, but just more elaborate here. So here it says instead of the earth dissolving into water, here it says the inner element of flesh dissolving into the outer element of earth, inner element of blood dissolving into the outer element of water, etc., like that. Okay, so the first one is inner element of earth dissolving into inner element of flesh dissolving into the outer element of earth. So here you feel the sensation of falling down a pit. So they feel like they're falling down, and then sometimes if they can speak a little bit, they can they lift me up. Okay, they will signal to people to lift you up. So that's why you put a pillow or 2-3 pillow behind them, and no matter how many pillows you put on their back, they still feel like falling down. So I want more pillow like that. Yeah. The sense of falling.
Yes. It's like the turbulence on the airplane, the feeling, right? So like, yeah,
Yes.
you're falling down.
This is the sense how you feel inside the dying person.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Now the next inner element, blood flows or blood dissolves into the outer element water. So that time you cannot control your saliva. So you start dripping, like from your mouth, you start dripping, and maybe from from the genitalia, you start urinating or like that. You cannot control your bladder, etc. Inner element fire dissolving into outer element, inner element heat dissolving into outer element fire. So there will be some cases, there will be vapor emerging from the crown chakra. I've never seen that myself, but the book says in some cases, vapor emerges from the top of the head at this stage. Yeah. Yeah, inner breath through the outer air energy. Then what happens is, so there is air here means the subtle wind energy. Okay, so the wind energy actually is divided into four. The ascending energy going up, evacuation energy which is going down, the fiery energy, and then the all-pervading energy. So all-pervading energy is something that is pervasive all around the body. So these four energy all culminates into the heart chakra. All wind energy. So this all energy here refers to wind energy. Okay, the ascending energy, the evacuation energy, the fiery energy, and the all-pervading energy. This all refers to wind energy. Wind is associated with movement. So at that time, it says in the book that all the blood in your body gathers together in the life channel. So through the life channel, through the central channel, it goes to your heart. So basically, there will be three trickle drops. And the three trickle drops, one after another. And the third drop of the blood in your heart chakra. Then with a long sigh, your breath stops. So at that time, I will introduce you to two more terms, even though it's like whitewashed in this book. There's a term called white bodhisattva and red bodhisattva. Okay, so here it's just called white element or semen. It is semen, but we don't refer to it as semen. We usually use the term white bodhisattva. So this is something very important to keep the sanctity of the authentic terminologies. Even though it's confusing, it has to be kept like that so that it will be explained by an authentic master. So just anybody who has this book cannot use it, for different purposes. So anyway, it's already explained, it's already translated in this book as semen. So in the original Tibetan book, the word semen is not written there, but it refers to semen. it's usually we call it Changsen Karpo. Changsen means bodhicitta. White bodhicitta is semen, red bodhicitta is blood. So it's like a code word. And, there's a reason why we keep this thing. Anyway, so in this book, it's like in the English book, as well as maybe in the Vietnamese book, I think it's already, is it very clear?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're not supposed to write this thing clearly because, that's a secret. Anyway, anyway, so the white element. So it's basically the white element or the semen which you receive. So semen is believed to receive from your father, and the blood received from your mother. And the semen is usually believed to be the subtle energy of the subtlest form of semen is actually stored in the crown, in the crown. So during that time when this all the dissolution ends, the semen, okay, you receive from your father moves downward from your head to it goes down it goes from your head to the genitalia, to the private parts. So basically, if you were to observe, you will actually find the person from the urination that they do. You will also find traces of semen within their body, because all the semen that has been stored within the crown now is no longer the person can no longer control it, so it's being dissolved and it's being let go. So it will come from the private parts at that time. And okay, so let me just add this too. At the same time, from the right nose or left nose, I forgot. So from one of the noses, the blood will also start to come. So so normally, so let me add this too. So when a person is in a meditative state, they call it what is that called? The post-death meditation. There is a name for that.
Kuda. Kudam stage.
Kuda.
Kudam, the meditation.
Yeah,
Tudam.
Yeah. Tudam. So person who is in a tudam, so you know
yes.
so yeah. So so the end of the tuktam is specified by this thing. So you find the white bodhicitta coming from the private parts and the red bodhicitta coming from the nostrils. That means the person has like completely gone to now has transpired. Yeah, that person has expired. Yeah. The meditation is over. It's not explained in this book, but that's how it goes usually. That is the end of the tuktam.
Yeah, that's that. It's still like a flute, or it's become like a very
It's a flute. I mean, it's not as strong as a normal semen, but but it's very in the very subtle form. But it's like, let's call it the traces of semen.
Yeah,
and the blood is also not as strong as if you would cut someone's like
very
that. But
dense, right? Very dense.
Yeah.
Thank you, rinpoche.
Yeah. So so there was a question: does the semen come from the female too? So it does. So even though we use the term semen, I told you it's a very subtle form of semen. So basically, the regenerative fluid, okay, which both man and female has. So the regenerative forces or elements within the female and male, we both have. So that one, the most subtle form of semen, okay. So that one actually comes with the if the person, I mean, if okay, it depends, because sometimes the dying person didn't eat or drink for 3-4 days, then it's a different story. But in other terms, there will be a little bit of liquid coming from the private parts, and then there will be some condensed sort of liquid there. So that is actually the semen, yeah, the subtle form of semen. No, I don't think it's red blood cell and white blood cell.
Sorry?
No, there was another question saying, is it red blood cell and white blood cell? I don't think that is. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, not the cell, right? Yeah.
I don't think so. Yes. To find common ground, let's use the original term, the bodhicitta, white bodhicitta. So when the white bodhicitta drops down from the crown, so here it just says drops down. It didn't say where it drops down. Actually, it drops down through the genitalia. So, so when the white bodhicitta drops down, when it's dropping down, you will, because the white bodhicitta is going down. Why it's called a white bodhicitta also is here, because when it's dropping from it's dripping from the crown chakra all the way down there, then you feel a sense of clarity, like a sky that is free, for like a midday sky that is free, that has no cloud at all, unclouded midday sky, sunny sky, like that. So and you feel the sense of clarity at that time. So that's why this is the one of the three phases, the clarity phase. Yeah. So there's something called 80 states, 80 mental states, 80. So 80 mental states of conceptualizations, okay? 80 states of natural mental conceptual thoughts, sorry. 80 natural mental states of conceptual thoughts, okay? 80 natural mental states of conceptual thoughts. Okay, so this is only identified in the Tantra, Vajrayana. In the Sutrayana, different forms of only 51 mental factors are identified. So general Vajrayana identifies 80 natural states of mental factor, okay? Then as you go higher up in the Vajrayana, like the Anuttara Yoga Tantra, like we go up and up, you identify about more than 300, etc. So anyway, so 80 natural mental state is common to all Vajrayana practice, Vajrayana teachings. So anyway, so 80 natural states of mental formations, or 80 natural mental states of conceptual thoughts. Okay, so let me explain this first. Yeah, let's get that one first. So when the dripping of the white bodhicitta starts, as an inner sign, there will be clarity. Sorry, outer side, there will be like outer sign, there will be the clarity, like as a pure, clear sky. And inwardly, out of the 80 natural states, mental states, which I just explained, 33 of them, 33 of the mental states, which is part of the clarity aspect. Okay, so clarity is nothing to do with clear mind or nothing like that. Clarity, the 33 mental state actually is part of it belongs to the category of, the three poisons. It belongs to the category of hatred, anger. Okay, so 33 kinds of hostile thoughts associated with anger dissolves or disappears, or it dries up at the time of dissolution, at the time of dripping of the white bodhicitta.
32 related to the anger.
33 related to anger, and at that time outer sign is clear sky, so it's called the clarity phase.
Yeah.
33,
not 32, right? Okay.
33.
Okay.
Then from the navel side, the red bodhicitta, basically it's blood, which you receive from your mother, starts to rise. So the white bodhicitta drops. The white bodhicitta drops. The red bodhicitta rises from the navel. Okay, so it starts going upwards. So inwardly it goes upwards. So basically inwardly they both culminates at the heart, but a certain part also drips from the nostrils as well as the from the genitalia. Yeah. So inwardly, it goes upwards to the heart. And at that time, 40 natural thoughts. Basically, it's associated with attachment, lustful thoughts. So will also go away. So that is called the increase because it's going upwards. So the white bodhicitta comes downward, the red bodhicitta goes upward. So that's why it's called the increase phase. So that time, both your any of your negative thoughts associated with anger and associated 33 thoughts associated with anger has gone already when it's dropping, when the white bodhicitta is dropping, and 40 negative thoughts associated with attachment is also gone when the red bodhicitta rises from the navel to the heart chakra. So basically, you are free from those two negative emotions, the attachment and hatred. Yeah. Yeah. So I made a mistake here. When the white bodhicitta drops, it's a cloudless sky illuminated by moon. So basically, like nighttime sky.
Oh.
And the red bodhicitta, it's the daytime sky with the illuminated by the sun. Okay, so there's the difference. Yeah. So as the red bodhicitta drops down and the white bodhicitta drops down and red bodhicitta rise up, and basically they both culminate at the heart chakra. And as the result of that culmination, then you go into total blackout, and that is called attainment. So the three phases, it starts with clarity, increase, and attainment. So attainment is like a total blackness. So basically, this is related to ignorance here. So the rest of the negative emotions, the seven negative emotions, seven mental states out of the 18 mental states, we have so 7 left. So those 7 also dissolves. And so basically, all conceptual thoughts dissolve. The neutral consciousness is still there, but conceptual thoughts of, oh, this is good, this is bad, basically all positive, negative, good, bad, love, hate, right, wrong, all these kind of thoughts is all gone now. So total blackout. So that is known as the attainment, the phase. So during the time of total blackout, the outwardly there is total blackout, and inside also total blackout means like, you can't hear anything, see anything, no thoughts, nothing. So when no conceptual thoughts are there, then it's like you just faded into something. You are like in an utter unconscious state, right? Because you cannot sense anything. Not just physical senses, but even mental senses. Everything's gone. So at that time, what you experience is total blackout, which is like a unconscious state. And then you rise. Okay, so you stay in that state for some time, and then you rise from that state afterwards. So I have to add some. I think I made a mistake here also. So if you are in the Tudam state, okay, if you are doing the Tudam, what happens is the white bodhicitta and the red bodhicitta remains in the heart chakra, remains in that state. And all of your negative thoughts, the 80 mental formations, right, what I just explained, the 33 related to hatred, 40 related to attachment, and 7 related to the ignorance. So all of them dissolve, no more there. And then you have no disturbance, no disturbing of anything, no disturbance of anything. So in that state, and at that time, what happens is there's nothing to disturb you. And then if you're an experienced practitioner, which is for Tudam practitioner, so then you can directly perceive emptiness without any inferences, without any interferences, without any veil, just direct concept, no conceptualization, no concept, just perceive, see direct, like I see you here. So like that without, but here I see you through the medium of the cell phone and the Zoom and this and that, right? But like like direct perception of emptiness, direct perception of the truth. And that's where you remain in that state as long as you want, until you want to release from that, come out from that meditation. So you remain in that state. So for normal person, you just go into unconsciousness. But for a trained practitioner, you actually go into like deep meditation. Okay, deep meditation. And then when the meditation is over, then the blood, the white and the red bodhicittas are released from the heart chakra, and then those releases are seen physically from the nostrils and from the genitalia. So for non-practitioners, when there's a total blackout, then after the blackout, there is a rising. I mean, they wake up from the total blackout. So this is, for example, like, okay, in the night time, evening time, you are having a dinner or a gathering, and all of a sudden the light goes out. Then it's total darkness, like people are just confused. And then all of then maybe within a few seconds, the light comes back, and then there was a short moment of joy when the light comes back after total blackout, right? So just like that, when after the blackout, then there will be a rise, awakening state. So awakening and Buddhahood. Buddha is also the name for Buddha in Sanskrit means awaken, right? So when you awake from that unconscious state, it's called awakening. So awakening is awakening also means Buddha. So that's why in many of the Sanskrit, in many of the Powa books, they call it Buddhahood without meditation. So it's not the Buddhahood as in the sense of a Samyak Sambuddha, which is completely free from all, all the defilements. That not that kind of Buddha, not like the Buddha Shakyamuni kind of Buddha. So Buddha, because Buddha means awaken. So here when they say, if you read the book, it says it is Buddhahood without passing through any intermediate state. So you might think, if you just read the book without guidance from a teacher, you will think, oh, I can do the Powa and just directly go to Buddhahood without any meditation, without intermediate. That's not Buddhahood as in the becoming a Buddha, because Buddha means to awaken. So it means to be awakened from the dark, the complete blackout. So it's more like waking up from an unconscious state. So that is the Buddha here. So it's not like the Buddha as in become a Buddha. Okay, so that's why it's confusing. But anyway, these are the terms that are used. The original term is Buddhahood, but it does not mean becoming a real Buddha. It means to awaken, to wake up. When Marpa Lotsawa says, I have, everyone else has the practice of becoming enlightening and like Buddha through meditation, and my lineage, I have the practice of becoming a Buddha without meditation. He's actually doing a word play, playing with words. It's not like he's saying, of course, it's referring to the Powa. And so to think that doing the Powa can get you to Buddhahood without any proper practice and just like that, so that's a misconception. And why Marpa he said that? Because he wants to encourage people to practice it. He was saying that, and he's not wrong. It is Buddha. So Buddha, there are many Buddha. There is the Pratike Buddha, the self-enlightened Buddha. There is the Samyak Buddha, which is the completely enlightened Buddha. There is Buddha like through Powa. So Buddha does not necessarily mean complete Buddha. But yeah, so it's a wordplay. So next time someone is promoting a technique that leads you to Buddhahood with very little practice or with shortcut or this and that, he is not wrong. But you also have to be careful what kind of Buddhahood he is referring to. because Buddha means to awake. So what kind of wake up it is, you have to understand. So you can ask, what kind of Buddhahood are you referring to? So I will conclude today's topic teaching here, but I'm because it's very important and we're going very deep, so I have to stretch by half an hour. Yeah, I have to stretch my time. I mean, I have to stretch this session for too long, and I appreciate all of your patience and thank you for your time. And we will now, of course, we will do further studies, further learn more, and. Yeah, now we will do the dedication, please. Yeah, thank you so much, all of you. Yeah, for your devotion, for your dedication. Okay. Yeah, dedication. Yeah, one, you do lama sangye ndrogyo ndrowa jikyang balu ye sala ge bara sho chanjo semjo rembo ma ye ba na ma ge yoro je ge ba nyam ba me Gone bondo be wara joy me mente dere chen si jime kembe wai boy chan boy my lu joy ze san we I know gone jen rồi kia rồi có lòng rồi cho bề soi lối soi hoàn điện lối soi cho bề soi lối soi hoàn điện Zembe Nibo, Zembe Bema Jin Naman Do Yu Ben Lan Chan Cho, Lobsan She Yi Gyambo Jobin Do Denge Joden Nambara So.
Thank you, Zibo Jela.
Thank you, Miss Wang. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cảm ơn tất cả.
Thank you.
Cảm ơn
Thank you,
Vũ.
Mr. Dang. Yeah,
Cảm
thank
ơn
you.
Vũ.
Thank you, Zibo Jela.